Here's a form of tyranny that happens to the people when you're not paying attention to politics and you just want to mind your own business. It's the wolves taking care of the hen house at City Hall and all those political government positions. When they see that the people are not interested, they run the coup however the hell they want without your permission. And a very good example is just like a video a young man made in Godly, Texas, where he's talking about a data center moving in. Well, I can bet you to promise that nobody ran on that shit. Nobody had that on their platform to say, oh yeah, we're going to bring in the data centers. I bet you to promise as hell nobody ran on that on their platform. I can guarantee you to promise nobody did. So instead, they're telling the people A, B, C, and D. Of course, nobody likes to vote, right? People just stay home. They think that everybody else's vote's going to matter. Their vote don't matter, right? That somebody else's vote will count for them. They don't show up. They don't vote, right? And then they want to complain, right? But who the fuck are you to complain when you didn't even participate in your civic duty? So it's like, shut the fuck up. Sit your ass down. But nevertheless, so what happens is when the wolves are taking care of the chicken coop, right? Or however that saying goes, is what's happened in this case as an example, okay? Aside from Animal Farm and all that bullshit that we're living under, but what happens is those politicians are free. They're free to make whatever choices for their own personal gain and their friends, and they collude with each other, right? They say, well, let's all come into an agreement together that we'll all get a little piece of the pie. Because whoever the one particular person is at the nexus for like jump starting all this, for them to start getting this data center, is that all these people in politics, from DC down to the local level, okay, is they're using their people. They're using the citizens that they're supposed to represent. They're using them as a cash cow to bring in something that, even for the people that did vote, they didn't vote for that shit because it wasn't on their platform. Okay? And that's tyranny. That's the kind of tyranny where they say, oh yeah, let's go ahead and bring this data center over here. And they're already probably making these backdoor deals. They're already thinking of the dollar signs, like all this land, all this land that these people have, all this farming these people have. They'll find ways to manipulate it. There's a story about a farmer who was a very nice farmer, and the next door there was like a farm over, not too far. I mean, you know how big farms are, with acres and ranching and all that. So there's a story, I have to look it up, but this farmer had a great big deal of property, right? And so somebody came to his door and says, hey, will you sell me like half your land? And the farmer says like, I don't know, I wasn't thinking about selling it, but how much are you willing to offer, right? So the man pays him like a great big deal of amount of money. And the man's like, sure, go ahead. You can, great deal, good sell. Okay, here's half the land. So little did that farmer know, right? Little did he know that he was selling to a wolf. Little did he know he was selling to a wolf, because once that man got that land and he started trying to cultivate that land, he was cultivating that land basically to poison that man next door's land, so that man could then eventually say, well, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm going to have to move on from here because I don't know what's going on. So I don't know how the detail, I don't know where the story is and I don't know how to look it up, but the man basically started poisoning his ground on purpose so that it could feed off into the other man's property, the one that sold him that land in the first place, right? So eventually the cows, his animals start getting sick. Start getting sick, and then what used to be, good land, nice land, was now drying up, or it was now drying up. It was becoming like where you couldn't farm anymore. And it was a whole time that guy next door that he had sold the property to that was fucking him over, screwing him over, because he wanted the rest of that land. Because he knew that old man wouldn't sell the whole thing. So he devised a plan to say, well, I'm going to end up getting it. I'm going to push him out. And that's what these fuckers do. And so the people in godly Texas, they're dealing with politicians that are nothing but dealing with dollar signs and using the citizens as leverage. The land that they have and all the acres, they're already just calculating the dollars. For all the kickbacks they're going to get. And this is what happens when people don't pay attention. Local politics is the worst. It's the effing worst. Because the local politics is where you see the people coming out like fake ass shit. Like going to church, all the fake ass shit. And then behind closed doors, they're wheeling and dealing in corruption, right? Just like my song says, they do a little bit good and a whole lot bad to make us think they're working on our behalf. The corruption at our expense. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on in godly Texas apparently right now. Okay, I mean, but it's even happening where I'm at. From DC down to local level. I mean, it's just that's what they do. When people are not going up to the city halls and going to the town hall meetings and all that stuff, they just see, oh, this is a very empathetic. Is it empathetic? Empathetic. People are not interested in what's going on in their town. People that are not interested in what's going on. So we can make smoke and mirrors, lie to them, and tell them what they want to hear, and then when they leave, we just do what we want. That's tyranny. That's like a form of tyranny. Especially when these fuckers didn't run on that wasn't on their platform. It's tyranny bullshit. But again, people who don't vote, you don't got a fucking right to complain, bitch. You don't got a fucking right to complain. Okay? You don't. But anyway, everybody assumes, oh, well, we'll always stay red. We'll always stay patriots. We'll always stay. Look at fucking Dearborn, Michigan over there. Look what the fuck Obama did. He brought in all Somalis over there in Dearborn, Michigan. They're invading over there. And that goes to another song of mine that I wrote. Only in America, okay? Some disrespect our country, like the fucking Democrats in Dearborn. All of Dearborn, Michigan, all blue states. They don't realize how free we won that war. They burned that church. They walking in and storming into a church over there in Dearborn, Michigan. Or somewhere in damn Michigan. They're trying to storm into a church. But yeah, that's from DC down to the local level, we see how the sausage is made. Well, when I say we see how the sausage is made, like the people that understand what the fuck's been going on in this fucking matrix for already a decade or more, right? Okay, we see how y'all don't see how the sausage is made because y'all are Johnny come lately, Johnny motherfucking come lately, okay? But we see how the sausage is made with briberies and evil crusades. And we won't back down. So, there's still people in the fight, right? I'm not in the fight as much as I was then. But, I just will post a video here or there, If I could just get all gutsy, lose some weight, get all gutsied up, go out to the city hall, go to Austin, Texas, get on the steps of the Capitol and just start singing my songs. Maybe I would go viral. I don't know, and kind of cut into my songs and then point out the examples. I would cut into my songs and point out the examples, like what I just said, what I just mentioned about some disrespect our country, like the Democrats, like in motherfucking Dearborn, Michigan, like in all the fucking blue states. Just cut into my song and give examples and keep singing the song. But, I just haven't got myself together to do that. But anyway, that's all I wanted to post. Bye.